Well, right now we have with us the Assistant Minister of Tourism in the Queensland area here, Bree James. Bree, thanks for taking the time to chat with us. There's a lot of buzz, a lot of people talking about this expansion that's coming to the region. What's some more information about this? How big will this trail expansion be?
It's so exciting for our region here. We have been campaigning for this for a really long time. So it's going to be nearly triple what it is now. So it's now 30 kilometres, but it's going to be 85 kilometres of amazing trails.
It's going to be a ton of trails. It's obviously going to bring a ton of traffic. What kind of extra infrastructure is going to be built to support all of that?
Yes, well, car parking is a big one, some more signage, but making sure that this is a really great place for more events like this, because it's just such an amazing thing for the region.
Well, people are buzzing about it already, and people are impatient, especially mountain bikers. What sort of timeline can we expect before there's actually tires on dirt on these new trails?
So it's going to be done in stages, so it'll be absolutely complete by 2028, so not long, not long. It's going to get underway, so the next year is all the planning and then all of the structure of the trails, and then it'll be actual build, so 2028 will be all complete.
That'll be big. A lot of people are going to be flocking to this region to ride, and that has more impact on the rest of the area than just the trails. What is going to be the kind of economic impact that bringing all of this new trail system to the area will be?
Well, first of all, it's going to make us not only the reef and rainforest capital of the world, but the reef, rainforest and riding capital of the world, which is really exciting for our region. This is a place that you can come mountain biking. It's 15 minutes from the airport, and you know, families can come here and the family can go and have a great time and make it a real holiday of it. But the economic impact, $95 million a year they're anticipating, with 75,000 mountain bikers a year coming to this region, with more international events. So it's a great economic booster. It's going to be great for small business. It's going to be great for our local kids as well, getting them out having more green time instead of screen time. For sure,
it's good for any community. I mean, this is our 4th year returning here, and we've obviously seen it grow a ton, and with these plans on the horizon, it's going to continue to grow. How will Crankworx, the festival that we're here for, how is it going to tie into these plans?
Well, Crankworx has been a bit of a catalyst for this investment into these trails, because Crankworx has been such a great testament to the trails here. To have an international event like Crankworx here in far north Queensland for several years, it shows how much mountain biking is an international sport and how much Cairns is a great place for an international sport. We have about 40 flights into Cairns internationally a day into the region. So you can get here via Hong Kong, via Singapore, via Auckland, via Fiji, from America, Europe. So we are a really well-connected airport, a great place to come for a holiday, to see one of the greatest wonders of the world, which is the Great Barrier Reef, but also the world's oldest rainforest. So it's a fantastic place to come. It has to be on everyone's must-do list. You've got that holiday feeling in Queensland, so come and visit us. We'd love to have you. And come mountain biking. It's going to be the reef, rainforest and riding capital of the globe.
Obviously, it's been such a popular and world-renowned tourist destination forever, and now it's so on the map for mountain bikers. Moving forward, big picture, what is the goal in terms of putting this area on the map for mountain bikers?
Well, I think we're already on the map, but I think we're Australia's oldest mountain biking trail as well. But the Olympics are coming up, the 2032 Olympics, so I do hope that we can be at least a training ground for some of those Olympic events and maybe host a couple. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
I mean, it's exciting to be here right now, but it's even more exciting to think about what this is going to do for the future of this area and for mountain bikers to come here and visit. Thanks so much, Bree, for taking the time.
Thank you very much for having me.
second stop of the 2025 Crankworx World Tour, and I think it's time we try something a little bit different. Alan, why don't we experiment a little bit? Today's broadcast is going to be unlike anything we've ever done. We do not have speed and style. Typically, that's what we would be doing right now on this Saturday. But today, it's all about Crankworx Cairns full tilt. And what in the world is that?
Well, full tilt, the first thing that's going to be different is we're going to have 3 riders coming down the track at a time, all on the same course. The next is the Flux Trail crew did an amazing job turning the previous speed and style course, and it's something we've never seen before. It kind of looks like they just, unwound a supercross track. They took it out of the stadium and they put it on the side of the hill here. Getting 3 riders on this thing at once is going to be exciting, Cam.
We'll continue to learn more and more about what this format is all about, what this course is all about, but just as the overarching theme here, this is experimentation, this is fun, and this is excitement. It's unlike anything we've ever done before. And I was thinking about it, mountain bikers, we don't go out there and try to pass each other on the trail. Maybe you do, but that is what we're going to do today. We've seen it in events like 4Cross, but there's a few things about this full tilt that are different from 4Cross, aside from the fact that it's 3 riders. Let's dig into that format a little bit. All right, Alan, how's this going to work? We're not going to follow our typical 32, 16, 8, 4, 2. We got different numbers here based on these 3-person head-to-head heats.
Yeah, we did some timed qualifying. We got 27 riders. They're going to be going head-to-head, 2-head, which is unbelievable. 3 riders at a time going to be coming down this hill. 2 riders are going to move on. 1 will drop out, but there's some strategy to be done. The elimination ladder, through your rounds, you have the opportunity to move up when it comes to your qualifying time. You get a faster time, you move up, that means you get a better gate choice. Who knows what that means, because we've never done this.
Once we get down to the ending rounds before our finals, we're gonna have those 3 final heats in that round of 9. Well, the winners from each of those 3 heats are going to go into the finals, racing for the gold, silver, and bronze. The second place finishers from those round of 9 heats are going to go into the consolation rounds. And one really interesting thing about this is your seating time will be constantly updating based on your fastest run of the day. So you can't get any lower down the rankings based on you having a slower time. But if you're faster, you can continue to move up the ranks. And what will that have an impact on? Well, you could go up against riders who are slower than you if you're constantly increasing your time, and you can also have a more favorable gate choice if you're increasing on your qualifying time.
Yeah, we see that number 27 qualifier, Fleming, somebody who we'd see much higher up in the rankings, had a flat tire in both runs, somehow was able to get in there though, made that qualification, but he is going to be somebody that's going to be jumbling up this run order all day long.
Guess who the #1 qualifier is out here, Alan?
We're in Australia. I don't know, Ryan Gilchrist.
Try the reigning king of Crankworx, Ryan Gilchrist. He's also leading the king of Crankworx standings at this point here as we're entering into stop number 2. But also, he was not on the top step of the podium yesterday, and you gotta think that's put a little bit of motivation underneath that helmet.
Yeah, any event that Gilchrist comes to, he's here to win. So anything short of that is not what he wanted. So he's gonna be pushing, trying to get more of those points, extending that gap over to Hoto, who's not here, so this is the time.
So we talked about Gilly being not on the top step of the podium yesterday. Well, if you missed that race, specifically he was second. And specifically, he was second to Jackson Frew, a guy who is sitting right there 4th in the King of Crankworx standings. So we always talk about it, stop #1, which we did a couple months ago in New Zealand, is as we progress throughout this season, things heat up. And right now the battle heating up between riders like Jackson Frew and Ryan Gilchrist.
Yeah, Jackson Frew typically really, really good here. Kicking it over to the Queen, we see Jordy Scott on top by 22 points over Jenna Hastings and Sabina Kosakorva. You see Martha Gill down there in 4th, the reigning queen. Not really the start to the season she wanted down there in Rotorua, so you look for her to be making up some points here today.
Well, we can't forget about Caroline Buchanan, sitting down there 7th in the Queen standings. But guess what? She is going to be here racing full tilt today. She took #1 in the dual slalom. That's stop #1 in New Zealand. And she's a rider who's branched out to all the different disciplines that Crankworx has ever offered. They brought slope style into the mix, and she said, all right, I want a piece of that. She was obviously a big name when we had speed and style. With speed and style out, full tilt is kind of like that battleground right now where you see those discipline specialists come together, and you know, we use it as a figure of speech. They're battling head-to-head, but in this format, they're actually not just head-to-head. They're bar-to-bar with passing actually possible. Here, we saw Martha Gill on our Queen of Crankworx standings, but not at the top. She's our reigning queen, but she's got some work to do.
Yeah, like I was saying, Rotorua not exactly the way she wanted to go down, so definitely going to be chasing down points. But you see Caroline Buchanan just a couple of years ago was that reigning queen. That was the one year she put focus on the queen. She's back. She's putting focus on it. I've said it so many times with Caroline, how many times she's been able to reinvent herself. The fact that she's out here competing in a new event doesn't surprise me at all.
What is she then? What is that? What would that make her? Like the Taylor Swift or something? She's constantly like, oh, and now I'm going to do a pop album. Oh, back to country.
Yeah, I don't know what your mind's on. I was thinking Brian Foster, like
That's
all
way
around.
cooler.
But yeah, Taylor Swift, we'll give her that.
That's way cooler. But for those of you out there, do you understand the Taylor Swift reference or the Brian Foster reference? Hopefully the Brian Foster reference.
Blue Falcon, baby.
So it's going to be fun right now, Alan. We're going to kind of be learning what this is all about as we progress through the rounds. I made sure to go up there and walk the course. I know you did as well. There's so many different lines, and the line that you like for seating may not be the line that you're able to do in the race run, because there's going to be two other riders out there. You get to battle it out as well, just like these riders elbow to elbow on the course here. We've got prizes for you, courtesy of Darko. Now, this is pretty cool. It's a prize pack. Some of the stuff in this bag here isn't even released until June 18th. The Gravity knee pad, the Gravity vest, along with a pair of riding pants and a riding tech tee. How are you gonna win this stuff? How are you gonna win this tech long sleeve shirt and these pads and these pants? I'm gonna tell you right now, you gotta go on to Instagram. You ever heard of it? I know you have an account. You're probably on it right now. You need to follow at Crankworx. You need to follow at Darko Clothing. You need to like the post where you will see these products on your little telephone screen there. And then you need to comment. You need to tag a riding buddy or riding enemy in the spirit of this new event, Crankworx Full Tilt. And we will pick a winner and we will send these products to you. Two of these products aren't even released yet, so that's exciting. You get to be a part of the action out here, so go and do all those things I just did, because we're about ready to get into the action here for the first time ever at Crankworx Can 2025. We're gonna have Crankworx Full Tilt. It's coming up, don't go away.
So bad, it's a party round here. All I see is gold, get us through my cardies round here. Always on time for the money, never tardy round here. Now I'm on top and they love me, keep some shawties round here. And we go pop us some bubbly, cause we going high, yeah.
Well, for the next, like, I don't know, 45 seconds to a minute, we're still a little bit in the dark about what this is going to be like. This is like Christmas morning. What is underneath the wrapping paper on Crankworx Full Tilt? You know, usually you have some racing in seating, but these were individual runs that ranked these results, and this will be the first time we have all these riders on course together, battling it out for advancing positions.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, walking the course earlier, if I had to suggest any of these fans out here that are on the ground in Cairns, get to that rock garden, because that's where everything's going to come together. There are very drastic lines there, which seemingly look slow to take the outside around the rock, but if you do, when someone's jammed up in there, if you're in third place, you might be able to pull the old Todd Slavic whip around the corner and pass too. So that rock garden's gonna be super, super exciting, but from top to bottom, like you said, they haven't actually gone down and practiced 3 at a time. People have been individually trying to find out what their fastest lines are. Out of the 27 riders that we're about to see in this first round, I'm guessing a lot of them have the same lines and plan, but they're not gonna be able to do it at the same time.
There's going to be a lot of stuff that happens right here that is unscripted, and I am here for it. Do we have the drummer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers racing in this historic first heat? We got Chad Smith up there. I knew he looked like Will Ferrell. I didn't know he rode mountain bikes. Louis Albon, Josh Jolly, and the drummer of Red Hot Chili Peppers, Chad Smith, to kick off Crankworx Full Tilt. First ever heat number 1 of action. I Can't wait to see what happens, Alan.
It's not jet lag why we see 3 people in the gate. Sometimes you go a bit cross-eyed, but there's actually 3 of them. Man, this is going to be sick.
Oh, thank you. I'll stop rubbing my eyes.
So you can see those markers there. They need to stay in lane until they get there, and then it's going to be freedom down this track.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Here we go, full tilt.
Solid start right there out of Josh. Josh, you can tell he's been doing some BMX. So now he has the preferred line. You see him going wide right there. Riders inside, crisscrossing. Remember, only 2 are going to advance, so keep an eye on that bubble position back there in second place. Can anything happen right there? You can see riders going all the way to flat, going deep. That's what happens when you race head-to-head. You end up going way faster than you expect. So we can see Josh Jolly right there in green. That was a faster run than his qualifying, so he's going to shuffle up the run for the next rounds.
How about that? We got Will Trees commenting in from the World Wide Web saying this is their first time watching live MTB. Well, you chose a pretty good moment because this is our first time ever seeing an event like this. Based on this first heat, I'm trying to figure out where some of these passing opportunities are going to be. A lot of decisions being made here in the midst of these runs, and some of them totally improvisational.
Yeah, there's definitely some improvisation happening out there on course, and that's where those hot lines are going to get found. Sometimes where you didn't expect to go ends up being the biggest one. You can see right there the difference in those lines, the big gap. Look how much speed that picks up right there. He caught up about 2 bike lengths. We are going to be figuring out where this track is faster and where it's slower. Both riders sending it to absolute flat. Street credit. Skadoosh. Kaboom.
Well, we've seen that final feature there ridden 3 different ways here in heat number 1. Well, we popped the cork on this thing. It's time to pour another glass here. Heat number 2 loaded up into the gate.
We have Joel Sutherland, number 32, Reese Wellings, number 33, and Connor Hudson, number 21.
Where do you think is gate choice number 1, Alan, based on what we've seen so far? It's hard to say.
Yeah, tough to say. Josh had such a good snap in that first round. It's hard to say if that was his advantage or if it was the line choice. He was in the middle, so let's keep an eye on, see if we can see a different rider hole shot here.
All right, so middle gate took hole shot in heat number 1. What will the story be here in heat number 2?
Round card. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Oh, middle rider getting pinched off now, Alan.
Yeah, he sure did right there. Looked like Chad had the gate snap right there. He's on the inside line. It's kind of a slow way there, but now he's on the inside. Let's see if he can catch up.
We may have a battle here for a second.
All the riders hitting that same line through the rock arm. We've seen so many flat tires. There's the gap over. You look at the gap catching up right here. He's coming down to the bottom. Is it going to be enough?
Well, we saw a race there for first place across the line, which means we will probably see some racing for those transfer spots for second as we work our way through these brackets. I like how, from what we've seen so far, it doesn't appear to be just a whole shot race. We saw a little bit of fluctuation there in that final straightaway.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be the number 2 and 3 riders you're going to have to watch until we get down to those bigger rounds where they're going to be going for medals, because right now second place is just as good as first. But look at those 2 riders right there coming side by side between the 2 different lines. One rider gapping in, the other going over the long way, but down towards the bottom, the advantage went to that gap. Now this is where I'm noticing this gap right here on this first step up. The last 2 rounds, the riders that do it gain a lot of momentum right here. Now watch.
Yeah, riders right here. That's the line that a lot of riders were choosing in seating, but then they were crossing over to riders left, which you obviously can't do in a race, but you saw that just carry more speed here. Oh my.
Yeah, you look at Joel peeping right over there at Connor, looking like he was maybe gonna get it.
How about tire choice for this, considering that you need fast rolling, you need good traction, and there's also mega rock garden.
Man, I haven't even got past deciding which bike I would ride in this. That's what's one of the things that's so cool about it. I've seen pump track bikes with hardtail, no rear suspension. We've seen short travel trail bikes and even some enduro bikes. So we don't know what's best.
That first section there where you have the option to either gap, double to either of the two landings, one on the left, one on the right, or scrub those. Sets you up more inside, but you gotta slow down for it. Here we go.
Jace Winter, Bailey Mills, and Niels Bensink. Bensink right there with the hole shot, previous pump track world champion. He gets that gap over, crossing paths, so close right there. Jace is falling back right there a little bit. He's looking super comfortable out there. Bensink takes that inside line. He knew he had it. You see riders going pretty long right there on that final jump. Now, as we've seen in these types of head-to-head events, the speeds end up increasing from the beginning to the end all the way through. So if riders are already landing a little bit low, it's going to be real hard and make or break on that final obstacle. But tell me what you saw out of here at Bensink.
Well, Bensink, obviously we know he's going to be snapping out of that gate. We've seen enough gate starts from him throughout pump track and dual slalom. But obviously, if you are going to get out of the gate first, you have your choice of lines throughout these sections with so many different options. And for that reason right there, the start has to be so important here. I mean, that's just a cliche thing to state for any of these races out here, but it's so important in this one where you let the other two riders just basically fight for the food scraps.
Yeah, so you got to keep in mind right here, we probably have the biggest time differences that we'll see out here in this first round. As we go round for round, the qualifying times are going to get tighter and tighter, so will the racing. And we have just not quite got to that point where we've seen three people trying to occupy the same space, but man, I am on the edge of my seat.
Bensink and Mills advancing into the round of 18 out of that heat there. We've got a poll for you viewers out in the rest of the world. What's the move in a three-rider race? Is it blast out early and hold on to that hole shot, hang back, wait for an opportunity to strike, or go full send and let fate decide? So far we only have all answers coming in for hang back and strike late. I don't think that's the call.
That's bad information. That's bad news right there. With a 22-second race, which is kind of the average of times we've been seeing, is in that 22, 23-second range. You got no time to sit back. It's all or nothing from the second the cadence of the gate starts to when you cross that finish line.
Well, if I'm reading this correctly, we saw our standings right there. Bensink inking the fastest time so far. And a little reminder, your seating run from this morning, if you're doing this discipline, doesn't follow you all the way throughout the day. Your fastest run of the day keeps updating as you get faster throughout the day. Hey, we got Bas van Steenbergen back in action here, stop number 2 this season. Exciting to see, considering he was absent from New Zealand. We caught up with him asking about strategy for this race. Let's hear what he had to say.
It's going to be tricky. I think it's going to kind of be a feeling out process. Like, just get through qualifying, try and get a good spot in qualifying so you get a good gate lineup. And then I don't know. It's going to be very interesting because the first feature kind of funnels into one area. So you kind of have to get there first. And then if you don't, you got a lot to figure out. So it'll be very interesting.
You don't become a 3-time king of Crankworx without having the ability to analyze a new event format and find the right ways of advancing out of heats. We've seen him do that time and time again throughout, slalom, pump track, downhill, but we also saw him so successful in speed and style, an event where, he's really having to step outside his comfort zone. I'm going to say this one being the new battleground event for the King of Crankworx, this is going to play more toward Bas van Steenbergen's strengths than speed and style.
Baz right there with the snap. Mikey with a solid gate.
Ooh, Mikey coming on the inside here.
Mikey went the tall way right there. Here they are, they're coming together. It looked like Mikey had to check up a little bit right there.
Mikey looking to make something happen from third place right now as Bas van Steenbergen crosses the finish line first.
Yeah, it looked like going into that rock section, Duke had just maybe a tire length ahead of Mikey, and it was either check up or crash. Did he call him Young Bucks?
Oh, Buck, I thought it was more bleep worthy than that.
I think he said Young Bucks. Good luck, you Young Bucks.
Yeah, you were. I I had to brake check on the scrub wall.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of finish corral banter in this race, isn't there?
Oh yeah, definitely some bench racing tonight at the bar.
Mikey was looking to make this inside rider's left line happen right here. If you're going to take that, you're going to have to be so aggressive, committing to that inside line. I can see people coming together in that rock garden as we progress through these heats and things get a little bit more intense.
Yeah, for sure. You heard Mikey. He said he had his eye on the prize, but had to check up as Duke Millington was occupying that space. And at that point, you know, it's all about momentum to the finish line. It's going to be hard to do anything. You kind of got to hope you can pressure your competitor into a mistake.
I mean, biggest opportunity to make an early pass is funneling together in probably the most consequential section of the course, where there's basically one main fast line through those rocks right there, and then there's a complete go-around on the rider's left. You're going to see people going through the more square-edged sections of those rock gardens if they really want to try to make a pass. That's going to be interesting. Here we go. We got George Chapman, Sam Blankensop, and Cameron Allenby lining up for this next heat.
You know, Cam, you were asking me what I thought the best gate was. The faster qualifier in every one of the heats we've seen so far has chosen that middle lane. So, smart man would put his money on that middle one. But here we go, Sam Blankensop. Let's see if he can prove me right.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Lucky number 13 on Sam's bars right there. Solid start, has a bike length by the time he made it to the second obstacle. Had a nice on-off right there. That was a line we hadn't seen anyone do. Look at Sam Blankensop. Whoa. Oh, rider down. Second place goes down right there.
Well, I can't wait to see a replay to figure out what happened there. Based on that, Sam Blankensop is going to be a major player in today's competition.
I didn't even barely see what happened up the hill. We'll see the replay, but yeah, Sam Blankensop was working his magic and I was froze out.
There's a lot to wrap your head around here, and we're just learning how to do it. But one of my first impressions is each heat is kind of the moments you're waiting for when you watch Supercross. Here we go. Oh, he went long, kind of compressed into that rhythm section. What do you think? Do you think that was a traffic violation right there, or just a self-imposed error? Oh my.
Yeah, he just overjumped that roller a little bit there, and I think what that is, you know, the speed of the competition is increasing. It's head to head to head. So that might be the first time he's hit that jump at that speed and just couldn't stay on the ground. And when he got to the next obstacle, fully compressed and over the bars. No coming back from that one. But Sam Blankensop, dude, what did we witness? Doing lines that no one else was, just looking like, I don't know, Jet Lawrence out there quadding when people are tripling, doing whatever he wanted with that bike on this course.
When we introduce a new discipline, we get to see who our stars are going to be, and based on this start and just his eyes up line choice approach right here, I think Blanky is going to be one of our big heavy hitters.
This is where the new line I saw. Watch, he does that on-off right there, gets an extra pump and gaps almost all the way over to that next one. He didn't quite make it, but
there is kind of a triple on that.
Yeah. I didn't even realize there was a second landing there.
Here we go. That's the moment that came right before we had our carnage. Yeah, they were coming together in that same section we were mentioning would be a bit of a funnel.
Can I get a second opportunity to answer your earlier question?
Yeah.
I think his butt cheeks were so tight going into that turn because he saw someone else coming that's why he went over the bars.
He also was riding that, you know, more square edge line through the rock garden. At the same moment he was coming together with the traffic. I'm a fan, I dig this. We got another heat loaded into the gate. Jack Hudson, Bailey Mears, and Jace Cunning.
Jace Cunning, one of the riders to watch to be moving up. Had a slow qualifying time due to some mechanicals.
Yeah, this could be our Cinderella story right here. Jace Cunning with an opportunity to throw those seating runs out the window. Oh, little squirrely for Jace.
Yeah, Jace is actually looking good. That was my mistake. That was Jaden Fleming that had the problem, so he's coming a little bit later. But Jace right now looking really, really clean, showing why you have that middle spot. There's a couple of sharp rocks in there, and those riders on the hardtails are really going to have to tiptoe through there. But we see Jace right there transferring into that landing. Oh, rider down back there in third place. Bailey Mears with that. Dominant run right there. Jace able to stay in second place. Oh, looks like a front flat tire. The rock garden strikes again.
Oof. Well, we got a question coming in. Kind of Gavin129 making note of this is the fact that, you know, they're a new rider to mountain biking. They came from motocross, and they're curious if this is how most MTB downhill events of this scale, how long the courses are. And the answer to that is no. Downhill's on a much longer course. We had the downhill race yesterday, but this is a really interesting time for you to be joining up a mountain bike broadcast because we've never done this either. This is a short course format similar to what we do for an event called dual slalom and similar to an event we've done for years called speed and style. So these are short courses, but it's great because we can get this venue packed full of mountain bikers and fans, and we're able to get real close to the action and be able to see every inch of the course out here, where as in downhill, that's a little bit harder. But thanks for joining us, Gavin. It's rad to have you. Crossing over to the dark side of mountain biking. I have a feeling you're gonna stick around. We see a lot of moto riders and BMX riders try their hand at mountain biking and fall in love.
Yeah, he'll be back. If you could compare it to anything in motocross, Gavin, it's the first lap of a supercross race. That intensity where everybody is just absolutely throwing it down and battling, and nobody knows where to go because there's so many people. That's how this is for these riders down this track.
Just trimming the fat, right? Like the beginning of a supercross race, first lap, and the last lap, we just try to cram that all into about a 20. What do you got our times going here in the 24-second range, I think I saw?
22s and 23s has been pretty consistent.
Yeah, under 30 seconds of race time here, just all condensed into a small package. Quantity, quality, I mean, quality over quantity.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
We got Tegan Cruz right there, getting the whole shot, our fast qualifier in this heat. He's got a bunch of riders down here cheering his name, so he's got fans.
Tegan's got that, like, Loic Bruni, Finn Isles look to him yesterday in the downhill.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Wi-Fi was down on my plane yesterday. I didn't get to see the downhill happen, but did see his name way up the standings, launching all the way to flat. That scrub on that last jump is going to become so important as these rounds go down because the speed will be increasing. And staying on the ground is going to become very, very hard.
So you see Tegan Cruz right there turning his time green, which means that he just put down a faster run time than he had in seating, which means his seating result has now been updated and he's improved upon that score, which means that can only help him when it comes to gate choice and the heats that he finds himself in. You know, you want to have a fast seating time so you can end up next to riders who have a slower seating time, which obviously increases your chances of making it through these rounds.
Yeah, we see a lot of riders increasing their times right there. You see their name in green, that means that their first run was faster than their qualifying. See the different options there, a nice on-off in third place there. Hadn't seen that one yet.
Ooh, look who we got in the middle gate right here. That looks like Jackson Frew, the man who took the downhill win yesterday. What would that be? A little over 24 hours ago. He was standing on the top of a podium, moving himself up the rankings in the King of Crankworx standings. He's sitting at 4th right now.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Michael Williams and Danley Fendler right now going to have to keep Jackson real honest as he gets that whole shot, launching all the way over and pedaling to that third landing. Jeez.
Landing with the back tire first on the second landing and basically light grabbing the throttle, just sprinting all the way to that next transition.
Yeah, and using the rut as a lip, jumping in and out of that tight technical turn, exiting the rock garden. Man, that was smooth.
Yeah, come on. Right after that start, we pretty much had our first and second transfer spots established there. Jackson Frew smoking out of the gate. Another really interesting point you brought up earlier, Alan, and it's so true. All these fastest qualifying riders are going to the middle. It seems like you just have, you know, the world is your oyster if you're in the middle. You can go right, you can go left, as long as you feel confident in your snaps.
Yeah, that second obstacle is the lowest in the middle lane, so you can stay, yeah, oh man, look at that. But watch this coming out of the rock garden. Let's see if we get to see it here. How he gaps into the rut and gaps out of it.
Yeah, Jackson Frew is on fire this season. So we got Ryan Gilchrist in the gate right here. He was our fastest rider after seeding. He was second place in downhill yesterday. And, you know, we've seen him come from BMX, and now he's coming from all these different disciplines and coming kind of back to his roots alongside different riders. I'm curious what he thinks about this new discipline. We caught up with him earlier.
Win, I think, is the most important thing to do. I'm a BMX racer at heart, and I love head-to-head racing, so it's all about getting some pointy elbows, and riding with some conviction, I think, is a big thing.
Now this guy has to be stoked. This is an event format that is similar to where he cut his teeth in BMX. Look at his gate choice though, Alan.
Yeah, he is on the very inside there, so we haven't seen that. So maybe he's got some lines that other riders aren't doing. Jaden Fleming, that rider we saw with the double flat tire. So watch him to put some pressure.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Let's see what Ryan Gilchrist does with this far rider's right gate choice.
Oliver Kultep in that middle. Just able to edge out.
Oh, Fleming needs something here with two flat tires and seating. Oh, he's coming from behind. I don't know if we're going to... Oh, he's in second.
Yeah, he's in second place right now, but it's about his time. He needs to get the fastest time possible to move himself up those rankings. Got caught up a little bit. Looks like he's on a hardtail there, so that's going to make him have to kind of tiptoe through those rocks. Gilchrist also on a hardtail.
So Gilly's showing why he was the #1 rider from seeding. Does not improve on his seeding score, but Jaden Fleming definitely does. It's the first time we've actually seen riders able to, you know, kind of still have a chance after throwing away seeding.
Yeah, Oliver had that preferred gate choice in the middle there over Jaden Fleming. He was almost able to edge him out. He hung out as long as he could, but he got a little off rhythm right there and wasn't able to keep Jaden behind him. So Jaden moving on. The story continues.
Check this out, Alan. So we mentioned that when we see those seedings rankings on the bottom left, the ones in green mean that they've had a faster run just now in a heat than they did in their seeding run. But also we're seeing the fastest times of the day. So Gilly's score, his time was still white. It wasn't green, meaning that he did not improve upon his seeding score, which makes sense because he was able to crisscross all around, but he still has the fastest time of the day. He's still #1 in those seedings rankings. 21.3, I think that I saw.
Man.
Well, obviously, we're excited to have this new format. We're excited to give away some prizes out there to you. We're going to be giving away that Darko prize pack, but we're also periodically going to be throwing up some poll questions on the screen where you'll have 3 options. You can comment 1, 2, or 3 and let us know what you're thinking. And we're all just still figuring out what we're thinking as well. We're just as new to this event format as you. I can already tell that I'm a fan as we're seeing our updated rankings now. Our seedings times mixed up with our run times from each of these heats, where riders are able to move themselves up the rankings. Jaden Fleming finally getting a smooth time there. 18th is going to be better than basically last, what he had after a flat tire in each of his seeding runs earlier today.
Yeah, bumped himself up those 9 positions.
All right, so the next question we have for you. Fastest time or strategy? What's more important today? Basically, you think it's smarter to just treat this as you would a downhill race, or get out there and treat it like a BMX or a motocross race and try to pass? Answer 1 for speed is king. Answer 2 for racecraft and chaos management, basically playing towards BMX or motocross skills. Or number 3, honestly, just survival. Just try to cross that finish line. Let us know what you think by commenting 1, 2, or 3 in the chat box below.
What do you think, Cam? What would be your go-to?
Man, I want to say racecraft and chaos management because I want to see some passes, but I think speed is king right there.
Yeah.
Get a fast start and be able to buy yourself anywhere on the course you want to ride. That is your currency. Your gate start is your currency, and you're rich throughout the rest of the course if you get out front because you can ride the fastest line. But if you're in second or third, you have limited options.
That could be the plan going in, but I think all of them apply depending on what place you're in, right? Because as soon as the gate drops, your plan could go out the window.
Could you imagine if in the future we continue doing this and we have, you know, everybody come together in a corner down there at the bottom, how chaotic this would be? answer number 2 and 3. Maybe the future of this event, we'll see.
Yeah, one of the things that I've heard people ask about is where did this event come from? That's one of the things that is amazing about the Crankworx organization is they reached out to the athletes and said, hey, what can we do with the slopestyle course? And the minds of Crankworx and the minds of these athletes, that's what brought this event together.
Well, way more fun for you coming the rest of the weekend. Today's a 2-event day. We got Pump Track coming up later. You're not going to want to miss that. Check your local listings. We're obviously broadcasting to the entire world here, so we've got a bunch of different time zones represented on the screen. But we're just going to call it later tonight for us.
Yeah, later. Is it tonight? I don't know. I'm still kind of numb from just getting here. I'm excited. Either way, I'll be here if it's night or day.
So you and I, Alan, are kind of a little bit confused as to what time of day it is and where we are because we just arrived yesterday and we're a little bit spun. But for the rest of you, we're hanging out in Australia. Look at this, far north Queensland. Very top eastern tip of this beautiful continent out here. So rich with heritage and, you know, tourist opportunities. This is a place people have been coming forever to visit iconic landmarks like the Great Barrier Reef, but for the last 4 years we've been coming here for mountain biking, and as you saw, we had that interview with Bree, the assistant manager of tourism. They're just going to do nothing but expand the trail network here, which will do nothing but expand the opportunities for riding leading into the future. We're looking forward to coming back here for years to come. And if you're coming here with your mountain bike, guess what? Starting 2028, there's going to be a whole lot more trails. Bright future out here for the Queensland region. We're into the round of 18 now, Alan, and a little look at who's punched their ticket into that round on our screen.
We see Sam Blenkinsop right there in heat number 4. He was, looks like he's in 3rd fastest right there in qualifying, so he's looking really good. There's a few of those highlight riders: Sam Blenkinsop, Jackson Frew, Ryan Gilchrist, Jaden Fleming, Jace Cunning. The list goes on. These guys are all going to be racing against each other at some point here. It's going to be going pretty hectic.
So we talked about how we have 2 broadcasts today. We got Full Tilt happening right now. We've got Pump Track happening later. Tomorrow we've got slopestyle and slalom, but yesterday we kicked things off with downhill. Let's take a look back at the action in case you missed it. Now, you were in the middle of your flight here, Alan, so you're going to want to take a good look at this. Jackson Frew, a rider who we see absolutely carving the path for Full Tilt out here today. Wasn't too shabby yesterday in downhill.
No, he's looking amazing. The track looked absolutely perfect with the conditions they had up on the hill. Such a legendary track, multiple-time UCI World Champs track. Something that really separates these riders is down at the bottom. There's a massive, massive sprint. Jackson, one of the strongest riders out here, but you see him on the freeway section right here. Look at the speed.
I gotta say, I love this FPV angle of that top section. And we saw that angle from every rider, but the way Jackson was able to scrub through and like his choices on how he was setting those corners up early and scrubbing those doubles in order to hit those marks was so impressive. And this is such an iconic downhill track. You see so many locals out here who know this like the back of their hands. We had the legend and local hero Mick Hanna out here yesterday having a mechanical in his race run. Ended up in 2nd place. Was Ryan Gilchrist, but Jackson Frew, who was the 2nd in seeding, putting all the pressure on Ryan Gilchrist, who was the final one to drop. And you know, Gilchrist was on his mind in this final pedaling section, which is absolutely relentless.
Yeah.
The fact that it's at the bottom means that you can't say, oh, I'm preserving energy. You've got to dump out the tank until that finish line.
Yeah, you're cross-eyed when you enter that section, and every time you look up, you see another camera, so you have to pedal your face off.
So right there, you know, he went into the lead by 3.2 seconds, but he knew that Ryan Gilchrist was still yet to go. And he was able to hold on to that and take the win, which was, you know, really big for the event, but also considering he's in the hunt for King of Crankworx. He now has 267 points. Jackson Frew is sitting in 4th position there. Gilly's still leading the charge, the reigning king. So the points that are up for grabs here in Full Tilt are very valuable and are going to play into the story as we continue throughout this World Tour. Next heat loaded up into the gate. Do we have Bass? Is that Bass right there? Good stuff.
So this is where we see some of those closer times from qualifying coming together. We got Niels Bensink and Bas van Steenbergen in the same heat right here.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Gate drops down right there. You see Bas get the whole shot from the inside, but Bensink starts to pull away a little bit. They're coming right together.
It's the tightest we've seen so far.
But here they are. They're going to come back together right into this rock garden. Bensink has to lock up the brakes as Bas just held it wide open like a game of Russian roulette.
Bas says, oh, you're trick-or-treating? Sorry, our light is off. Our door's locked. Wow, that was the tightest racing we've seen yet. Bas van Steenbergen crossing the finish line first, right ahead of his... Look at that. We were next to each other. Listen to them talk. Two riders who raced together since they were children, Niels Bensink and Bas van Steenbergen. Look at this.
Yeah, look at Bas gets a little bit of an advantage right there, maybe a wheel length, and then Bensink has a little bit of an advantage there, and right here, they completely split the directions that they're going. Bensink hung up a little bit on that step up, and Bas cleared it and then slingshot around that end, and right there, Bensink had to shut it down.
If you're out ahead and you do what Bas did, you decide to go out right, so you're able to do that slingshot and come into that rock garden with speed, you better get there first, because that rider who's got a jump on you is straight up T-bone position.
Yeah, and where the strategy is going to have to come into play is when Bensink had to lock up, Cameron was right there and gained 2 bike lengths and almost made the pass coming out of the rock garden.
That was my favorite heat so far. That is what this event is going to be all about.
Okay, my heart's racing now.
Josh Jolly, Bailey Mears, and Jace Cunning in the gate next. Let's see if we continue to get tight racing like that last heat. I got to think as we eliminate these slower riders one at a time, we're just going to get more and more action-packed in these heats.
It's interesting if, as the heats get closer and closer and the racing gets tighter, if the preferred lane choice on the gate will change.
They're learning, right? They're trying to figure this out.
It comes down, looks really even again. Okay, so we got some exciting runs here. That lead rider swoops around. Oh, watch third place right here, trying to sneak around the outside.
Oh, looking to make a move. Going down swinging. That is the final opportunity to make something happen.
Yeah, Bailey Mears just slinging the gun right there. Looked fully compressed into that lip and bounced out and wasn't able to hold on to it.
And me and Bailey off the roller into the wall.
Josh Jolly and Jace Cunning, or Bailey Mears getting a little loose, so Jace Cunning able to move forward right there. Look how close they come together. Both riders almost sort of anticipating what the other was going to do, and both slowing up.
We got some of the most interesting noisemakers I've ever heard lining this course today.
And there's that violent compression out of Bailey Mears and just sends him up into the air. Able to save it right there. That might be the save of the day so far. The boys equally as impressed.
At the bottom, they get to watch the replay and try to figure out what in the world they just experienced. Tegan Cruz, left side of your screen. Taking that middle gate is Joel Sutherland and Ethan Alexson. Tegan with the gate choice here goes for that far right gate, something we saw Ryan Gilchrist do earlier.
Yeah, Gilchrist was the only one to do that in the first rounds, but now it seems like all the faster riders are choosing that inside lane.
Because if you want to hang right on that first jump, and you're not sure if you're going to be able to cross over and make it there, that far right gate can be the call. You got to transfer really far to be able to pull like Tegan is doing. Then he stays middle. Oh.
Yeah, Tegan able to accelerate out of that step down. Just along for the ride right now. Oh, he gets off rhythm right there.
Tegan going long on that final jump right there. He is looking just powerful. He sat on the hot seat for a bit yesterday in the downhill race. He's obviously been training in the off-season. He looks super aggressive. He's sitting pretty respectable in the King standings. 5th place with 256 points right now.
Yeah, I want to see back on these replays what happened with Joel Sutherland. He was looking really strong right there, like he was contending. Oh, we saw a little slip of the pedal right there out of Ethan. So Ethan is behind right there in 3rd place. How does he make the pass? So he pulls up alongside right there.
Look at that. Ethan said, I'm going to just go way around, so I'm going to have more exit speed out of that into the 2nd straightaway.
Just having to shut it down right there. Getting out of rhythm. Wasn't going to be able to come back. And that was from that earlier preferred middle start lane. So the preferences are changing.
So Lewis Albon with a crash. Unfortunately not able to line up for this heat right now. And obviously with this format being top 2 riders advance into the next bracket, we're going to treat this one as a practice run here with Michael Williams and Sam Blankenship. Both of them will be advancing. An opportunity here to test out some lines now that they've had a heat under their belt, learned a little bit more about what is important in this format.
Yeah, get your notebooks out, mountain bike fans, because a free lap on TV from Sam Blankenship, I feel like this is going to be a good show.
That was basically the buzz when you walked around the venue earlier today talking to some of the riders who are competing in this event. They're saying, you know what, there's a lot to wrap your head around. We don't really know what the best strategy is going to be, but with one heat under their belts, they kind of have an idea what to practice now, whereas before, I don't know, just memorize all the lines and try to keep an open mind based on what you're given when you drop in alongside 2 other riders. And what did Mikey Hadver say when he was finished with some of those practice runs?
Yeah, he was forecasting some collisions. Sam with a solid start right there. Again, both riders are going to be making it through right here, no problem. But an opportunity to maybe check in some lines, see how the course is developing. Gap to manual into the rock garden. Jump in. That was that section where we saw Jackson jump in, jump out. So he was able to make a double there where Sam didn't.
Hey, you know what? Something I just thought of, though, is even when it's essentially a bye run, you still got an opportunity to improve your seating time.
That's a good point. If we see any of these times in the green, that's exactly what their plan was. Move themselves up the rankings for the next rounds. Take the opportunity.
And if you're wondering, yes, we do have a women's category for Crankworx Full Tilt. We will join up with the women in the semifinals. We've got a ways to go until we're at the semifinals for our men's field. Right now, 2 riders will advance out of this next heat, loaded up into the gate. We got Jackson Frew choosing that right side gate, it looks like.
Yeah, on paper, you gotta assume Jackson Frew's the guy to take the win here, but Bailey Mills and Connor Hudson on the same second for their qualifying time. So watch those 2 and 3 riders if Jackson does get that hole shot to be super close on the way down this course.
We got a Bailey Mears and a Bailey Mills out here today.
I know, it got me twice.
See if we'll get them in a heat together at some point in the future.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Jackson Frew putting a lot of time in at the BMX track, getting those gate starts absolutely where he wants. You can tell he's just kind of cruising right now, letting those riders come up right behind him, and boom, right there, that step up. He's making it work and gaining about 4 bike lengths in one spot.
He's cruising.
But here we are, Bailey and Connor coming together right here. Let's see if Connor can come around and slingshot past Bailey. Doesn't quite look like he's able to.
Connor with his head in the right place, though. I like what he was thinking. You could see how that potentially could have worked. Jackson Frew able to get his fastest time of the day, move himself up those rankings that we started keeping track of in seeding this morning.
See right there, Connor starting to go to the outside. He had to check up a little bit right there. Jaden playing the low block game. So that's the other thing too. You can block these riders in certain sections when they come together. And here, Connor starts to go to the outside. He's trying to slingshot around Jaden right there and use that momentum out of that turn.
Oh, man.
He crossed back over. I think he should have stayed wide outside and sent it.
Yep, just say, all right, this is where the speed is. I'm gonna stay far riders left. Because you don't have to like physically pass that rider. You just gotta cross that finish line first. And it widens up so much in that final section.
I mean, it's easy to say, sitting here at the booth, not have ridden the track.
100%.
But, all right, these heats are starting to get pretty stacked right here.
Gilly is back here, the reigning king of Crankworx. We talked to him earlier about the fact that he comes from BMX, and now here he is in another event where he got to rub elbows. We had more questions for him, though. Let's get inside of Gilly's head.
I guess the main difference is dual slalom is a time trial top to bottom. So you got to be quick from the start gate to the finish line, and that can change the way you set your bike up. Full tilt, you need to be faster than everybody else for the first feature, and then be fast to the bottom. So there might be some bike changes, maybe prioritizing gate start speed.
I can't wait to ask him once this is over what he prefers, dual slalom. He prefers to say it's slalom or full tilt. It'll probably depend on how he does out here today, and so far he's doing very, very well. Has that fastest time of the day, allowing him to choose wherever he wants in those three positions up there in the gate. He's taking riders right again. Worked out for him in the last heat.
Yeah, you hear him saying that, you know, bike choice might be relying on the start. You see him there on the pump track bike, the hardtail. That's definitely playing into getting that start. That stiffer rear end with no suspension is going to get you right out of the gate like what he did right here. Just extending his lead through the rock garden.
Oh my. Did you see him around that left-hander?
Yeah, railing the turn. Couple of changes back there between second and third.
In that interview, he mentioned how, you know what, who knows, he might even be switching up bike choice throughout the day. Something tells me he's on the right bike. It doesn't look like he's wanting anything other than what that bike is providing for him on this course.
Duke Millington able to just squeak out Jaden Fleming there. But it didn't start out that way. How did he make that pass? My eyes were glued to the first place, but you see Fleming in the lead right there. How does he get by? It's pretty even right there. You see Duke just pedaling and railing. Oh, and there he goes. Suspension came into play right there. That was bike choice.
No way. He took that less than ideal line through those rocks, didn't he?
Well, yeah, you can see Jaden Fleming having to check up a little bit going into those rocks. No suspension on that rear end of his bike and very little in the front, and those pump track tires, so having to tiptoe through that rock garden. But Duke has a trail bike with some bigger tires and knobbies, and he pedaled straight into and accelerated through the rock garden.
That was very nice timing of that to take place right after we were talking about would it make sense to switch bikes throughout the day here today once you learn more about this format.
I got blind for a second. It's just like I go blind for a bit.
Well, guess what? The course officials don't go blind at all, and it sounds like they're taking a look back at one of those gates. In that replay, we did see a little bit of contact with the gate, and we haven't seen anybody miss a gate yet, but obviously if they do, we're going to have big shakeups to the stories of who advances.
Yeah, and just kind of the rule on that. You're allowed to hit the gates, and you really got to think about where the front axle is. That's the thing. You got to have your front axle on the correct side of the gate right there, which he hits it, and you see how it bounces to the right there? That indicates that contact was made on the inside of the gate, so that is going to count.
So I just made eye contact with the official of all officials, Jimmy, right there, and he gave me the thumbs up. All good, no DQs, but just a reminder that that is one of the variables we have out here today. Is if you miss a gate, sorry, there's a penalty for that. You're not advancing into the next round.
We'll see if that ultra stiff Yeti carbon pump track bike that he is running right there and getting those good starts from, if that works out for Gilchrist all the way throughout the day, because we just saw the trail bike win that one.
I wanted to talk about that. So with that rock garden being where it is and how it is, you're not going to take those other lines on a hardtail unless you've got some strong casings or tons and tons of tire pressure. Made me kind of think, like, is it even easy to find a 26-inch downhill tire anymore if you wanted to strap one on for this race?
If you were gonna have to find one, I'd say Australia is probably the country you need to be in to find one. But yeah, totally, that might be a good call. But then going back into the gate, right? Like, that's a lot of inertia. A downhill tire is not what you would want.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch that trail bike thrive right there, making that pass from third to second, and it really kind of makes us wonder what the future of the day will hold here as we heat things up, as we continue to drop one rider from each heat in this inaugural Crankworx Full Tilt, the experiment that we're trying out for the first time right here in Crankworx Cairns. Will it be a Crankworx mainstay discipline in the future? Will it just remain an experiment we do once? We're gonna find out. So far, it's pretty exciting, and I'd say that each heat is a little bit different. We're not seeing the same thing repeated over and over again.
Yeah, these 12 riders right here, only within 3 seconds spread from beginning to end. So the racing is unbelievably tight. A lot of different options up there when it comes to bikes, lane choice, strategy. I'm into it. I'm down with this format. Look at this course.
Well, we saw the winning run from yesterday's downhill race. That was Jackson Frew taking the gold out there. Why don't we look back at the winning run for the women from yesterday's RockShox downhill Cairns. So Sean Ahern, all pressure on the 26-year-old Australian out here with the crowd backing her, put together an absolutely spotless run.
Not a stranger to the World Cup circuit, but focusing on Crankworx this year, that is her target. That is the highlights on her calendar. So doing a good job of that, taking the win here in her home country.
Really interesting, kind of exciting part of yesterday's race was the fact that Tracy decided to sign up for the event and get up there in the start gate. She did it as a tribute to a fallen friend who passed away 2 weeks ago out here, and wearing the jersey he would have been racing in. And it was a great tribute. She put the pressure on Sean Ahern. Sean had never beat Tracy in a downhill race. Tracy puts down a smoking time, leaving Sean up there at the start with an opportunity to make it happen. She capitalized on that opportunity, and you can see when she gets to the finish line here how much it meant to her. Tracy just being somebody who has been such a competitor for 2 decades, and to be able to just hop on a downhill bike for the first time in a year since she took the win here 12 months ago and still end up in second place. Probably important for Sean as well, just to know that not only did she take the win, she was able to do something she'd never done before, which is put herself ahead of Tracy Hanna.
Yeah, maybe a passing of the torch for women's Australia downhill racing. The motivation it can give you and the momentum it can give you to beat your heroes is, you know, it's a special thing. And not a small amount, 5+ seconds right there.
So that was downhill yesterday. We're right in the middle of Full Tilt, our experiment of the year here, debuting at Crankworx Cairns. And then we've got another one tonight. We talked about that earlier. It's going to be all about pump track, where valuable points for King and Queen of Crankworx are up for grabs. We've got some commenters curious about when slopestyle is. That'll be tomorrow. It's going to be here before we know it. We've got some updates to the Crankworx Cairns slopestyle course. Talking to the riders, they say they're really a big fan of some of these additions. This final straightaway, tons of dirt lips, kind of following in the tradition. We had that dirt bowl the past few years, but now some step downs and step ups that are going to be offering more opportunities for tricks in the final straightaway of the Crankworx course. A lot less wood on the course as well. Been a big heavy skate park influence the past 3 years. Kind of doing away with that now. More opportunities for some of those bangers. And you know, the first round in New Zealand in March was pretty wild. We had some new stars emerging, and we had some of our staple riders still recovering from injuries, and they are converging now. That's going to take place tomorrow. We'll see those riders on the course at the same time. For the first time tomorrow, round of 12, taking a look at who was able to advance, Alan.
Yeah, these heats are getting more and more stacked right here. Looking at that first heat, Tegan Cruz, Baz van Steenberg, and Jace Cunning. That could be a final right there. Looking at all of these, they could be finals. So many fast riders going to be forced to go head-to-head with only 2 of them moving on. Going back to the dirt, looking at those overheads, I'm salivating a little bit, and I want to take note here that any mountain biker that rides these types of tracks, if you asked him what their dream dirt would be to build whatever they wanted, this is it. Like this dirt, we call it Georgia clay in America, but it is so good. It's like, I don't know, it's like gold. If you could have any dirt, this is the dirt you would want. It looks so amazing.
Looking around, I mean, this is a rainforest. You can't see the dirt when you're just looking around at these mountains. And to think that hidden underneath the foliage is this insane dirt that can be sculpted into anything, you know, from a whip-off jump to a full tilt course, slalom, and slopestyle, all the different venues we have out here at Smithfield Mountain Bike Park. Who would have known? Hidden under that canopy was gold. All right, we got another question for you viewers at home. What's the biggest risk in a 3-rider heat? Option number 1, Alan.
Getting squeezed early. I think that's, you know, definitely a huge risk. We've seen the, you know, the number 1 qualifiers in each heat choose different starting positions, so that's definitely on their mind.
And we see our results coming in live. Number 2 option, overriding to avoid ending up last.
Which we've seen a few of those number 3 riders trying to make moves, taking lines that maybe they hadn't taken in practice, or maybe even going faster than they had all week long, kind of getting caught out and getting thrown off.
Something else we have seen at least twice is the option number 3, crashing while chasing. We've seen that a couple times.
Yeah, I think that goes right in there. I mean, if you're in last place, you're going to override to miss it, and that's going to cause you to crash, which we've seen. So it's going to be exciting, man, especially as these heats get more and more stacked.
That's it. That's the biggest piece of this story here, is the fact that as we work our way through these brackets, they're going to get more and more stacked. You're seeing some of these big-name riders in the same heats here in the round of 12. Imagine what the final round, where every rider gets some hardware, but each one of them wants that gold. Stop number 2 of the World Tour right now here for the 4th year in a row, Crankworx Cairns. We've got the final stop of the World Tour coming up in the birthplace of Crankworx World Tour, Whistler, British Columbia, coming up in August. We mentioned earlier, we got more action for you coming up today. Pump Track Challenge. What time? Sounds like round of 12 loading up into the gate. Yeah, there they are. We got a visual on screen. Tegan Cruz, Baz van Steenberg, and Jace Cunning. 3 big names. It's probably the first time we've seen 3 big Crankworx mainstay names in a heat together. Get used to it. That's going to be the rest of the event here in Crankworx Full Tilt. Tegan Cruz with that number 1 gate choice. Look where he chose.
Oh yeah, he's inside. I'd keep an eye out on that step-up section in mid-course. I think that's where all these riders are going to come together right now, because in these previous rounds, they've all looked so strong out of the gate and over those first obstacles.
Bass has been riding that rider's right section here over that first jump. Let's see if he can cross over and get where he wants to be. It's going to be racing Tegan to that setup.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Baz with a solid start, but Tegan had a strong second and third pedal.
Who's going to get there to that lip?
Baz able to get to the step up first.
Pushing
but
Tegan
Jace
out
coming
to the
inside
corner.
right here. Watch them come together. Oh, and there's a... Jace had to check up right there, as Tegan Cruz had that line locked in going into the rock garden. But coming around wide, let's see if they can get back to the ground on the pedals.
I mean, Jace was really close to eclipsing Tegan into that finish line.
Yeah, he was definitely gaining on him from that step down all the way there.
Going to get all 3 of you to go back up.
Oh, no. Sounds like there may have been an issue. We just overheard Jimmy asking them all to go back up. This is what it's all about right here. Coming into this lip, they both want to be right in the middle of it. Tegan forced out to the rider's right. Look at this. Oops.
Yeah, you see that little swivel. He was definitely going to go the exact place that Baz van Steenbergen was in.
Did you see Tegan just filter in front of Jace there?
Let's see how Jace made up some of that time down here at the bottom. It was from this step down after this corner here. He started to gain some momentum. Didn't look like there was any mistakes out of Tegan Cruz. Gapping up. Maybe a little bit short right there.
Yep.
You should see Jace come into the picture here and look at the momentum he's carrying and pushing Tegan Cruz all the way to the finish line, trying not to get eliminated here.
And did they ever funnel in tight to that main line through the rocks?
Yeah, did you see Baz Van Steenbergen right there leaning a little extra left, maybe more than he needed to, closing the door, making sure Tegan wasn't going to slide up the inside there.
Here we go. Jace says, I got to make a run for it. And look how close that ended up being. Seeing some of these riders overshoot that final jump so far, knowing that that finish line is right on the other side of that landing.
Reminds me a little bit of the pump track race down in Christchurch earlier this year in the summer series. There was a couple of just hucks, sends to flat, you know, anything to win. We heard Gilchrist say that, I'll do anything to win. And if that includes sending a 30-foot jump to flat, he's gonna do it.
Well, Ethan Alexson, Niels Bensink, and Sam Blankensop.
Okay, riders, random start.
Look at where Blanky is looking.
Yeah, so they're using the UCI BMX Supercross gate cadence, so there's a light off to the left there where he can see, and the light, when it turns green, he goes no matter what.
Ooh, they're
Riders
close.
getting a little bit loose right there. Bensink not willing to give the line to Blankensop, but he said, I'm gonna take it anyways.
Yeah, Bensink was not thinking, all right, two of us advance. He was thinking, I want to cross that finish line first.
Yeah.
Oh, look at them laugh about it.
The break because you were coming to me. I thought you were gonna let me in, and then he was like, oh no, he's not. Once you get that fix, go straight back up because there is out of everyone in this round.
I thought the other one was going to check out.
Oh, I thought letting you come up. I'm like, oh no, I'm not letting you. Fuck you. If you guys can go straight.
Robin's racing.
We get to see this again. It was really fun being able to listen to their banter after that.
Yeah, Sam Blankensop, he's tougher than a $2 stick. He is not going to give you his position no matter what.
Here we go.
Blankensop swoops in right there.
Here we go.
There's Bensink.
One ideal line here. They both want it. Look at that.
Yeah, Bensink had the inside, so he assumed he had the preferred line, but Blankensop just held it wide open and said, nah. All he needed was to get his elbow in front of him, and he pushed off. That was a BMX move right there.
I mean, it's also about the implications of the next corner as well. They're setting up so far in advance for that corner right there.
Bensink trying to be sneaky. You saw that even though he didn't have the advantage, his elbow was behind Blankensop's. When you get yourself in that situation, all you got to do is lift your elbow up a little bit, and it steers your rider off track. It's one of my favorite moves, the pro elbow.
You Dirt commenting, that was some chaos management for sure. It was. I mean, I think about those rocks and that next left-hander, and it's less about where you are in relation to the other rider. It's about setting up outside enough to be able to make that left-hander right there, which basically gives you your speed for the whole final straightaway.
What's so technical about that rock garden is it seems like the place on the track where the riders are coming together the most. It's also where they're going nearly the fastest. And you don't want to turn when you're in a rock garden. So you have to set up the turn 20 feet before you get there.
The only part of the course where there are rocks as well.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
I feel like none of that was unintentional in the course design as well. This is purely driven by creating good race action and entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely, right there. So Jackson Frew not getting the whole shot right there. Holding it tight, two riders will advance.
Ooh!
Josh Jolly pushing him all the way to the finish. Josh getting that heat win. Now let's see if Josh can improve on what his qualifying time is. Maybe bump up in the next round.
Jackson Frew and Josh Jolly advancing out of this round of 12.
So those times are staying white. They will not improve on their qualifying times. Solid race out of Josh right there.
Absolutely. Jackson Frew looking to stand on the podium for 2 nights in a row, making it through this matchup here.
Trying to see where Josh's advantage was. Looking really clean right there. Transferring to the outside and getting a few pedals down into the rock garden. When you swing outside like that, you do line yourself up a little bit better for the rock garden, but it's a little bit longer way around. So, you know, it's going to be a game time decision depending on what place you're in, you know, where you're trying to make your pass, all that stuff. It's going to get exciting.
How about this? We got Jackson Frew and Sam Blenkinsop in this race. They're also just 30 points apart, 3rd and 4th in the King standings right now.
3rd and 4th maybe the most important place right now in the King of Crankworx race, with number 2 not here today competing.
And number 1 in the gate right now with the fastest seating time of the day. Once again, choosing that rider's right gate, Ryan Gilchrist.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
See if Duke can ride that high off that last race. You know he's confident in that rock garden. But Gilchrist looking fast.
Oh,
did you see that?
No way. He just had, the world was his oyster there. He crossed over the course because he was so far ahead of everybody.
Oh, and it looked like Duke right there missing a gate. So, we got mayhem right there. It looks like Duke missed a gate. Connor got a flat. What's gonna happen?
I'm bounced.
But Gilchrist, yeah, right there. He is dropping.
I bounced out the end of the rock garden and went straight over the inside.
Moral of the story right now, if you got a flat, get across that finish line no matter what. Wonder if he knows that there was a gate miss. Good call though. He's obviously doing exactly what he should do.
I think by that trot, he definitely knows.
Yes.
Yeah, Gilchrist on that step up mid-course, doing that gap to manual. Unbelievable acceleration and bike skill out of Gilchrist on that run.
We're gonna get a look at this missed gate here.
So we're gonna keep our eye on number 9, Duke Millington. Sorry, number 4.
This is it right here. Wow.
Yeah, it looked like him and Connor were really tight right there. Connor putting the pressure on. And then right here, oh, he's gonna over jump right there and land flat, nowhere to go. Oh, but he might have got in there.
Interesting. I
mean, that was close.
To me, that looked like he was good.
Yeah, I think you only have to hit the outside of that.
Let's see if we can zoom in on this here.
It's a bit of a tough angle, but yeah, it looked like if the gate goes right, I'm calling him good.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Front tire, back tire. I mean, it looks obviously good to me.
He swerved back really hard. It's tough to know if it's straight over.
Ah, hey, guess what? There's more to the story. That's not the gate in question. That's the gate above.
I guess that's why I was so confused, because in my angle down here, what I saw was very obvious. Yeah, 1 gate higher. I think I caught him out of the corner of my eye just over the top of that flag, so not advancing right there.
No, I think he's got to change the tire, but...
So we're going to get the correct gate in question up here. See what we got.
There we go.
So I like bounce out.
Yeah, that's gonna do it.
Yeah, that'll do it right there. That was inside in the blink of an eye.
So Duke Millington obviously missing that gate right there. We're under review, but sorry, Duke, we just saw it clear as day. We were backing you for a minute there because we saw that next gate and you were clean, which means Connor Hudson, despite the flat tire, will be rewarded for his hustle.
Jimmy said.
We're gonna figure out what happens here when you miss a gate. Sounds like Duke has been in conversations with Jimmy. Jimmy's running around. Well, while we figure that out, I mentioned earlier we do have a women's category for this event, of course, with big points on the line for Queen of Crankworx. Let's take a look at who our competitors will be here today. Women's category of Crankworx Full Tilt. Ooh, look at that. Sabina Kosarkova back for more. I have a feeling she is hooked on Crankworx.
Yeah, back for more, but look at that Heat 3, your current and your previous Queen of Crankworx. matching up in this round.
And they will both advance, so we won't be sending anybody home out of Heat 3, Caroline Buchanan and Martha Gill.
Sabina Kosakorova, such a cool story. Started riding mountain bikes this year. She was the pump track world champion, but never did a dirt pump track before doing Crankworx. And now, 2 events later, she's a bit of a Crankworx specialist.
Well, the women's semifinals out here live from Cairns, Australia. Crankworx Cairns full tilt. Women's semifinals coming up after the break. Stick around. Day 2 of competition out here. Cairns, Australia for the 4th year in a row, bringing the Crankworx World Tour to beautiful Australia. Let's check out some of the results from our poll questions. Thanks for all the participation from our viewership around the world. Joining us from all the different time zones for a historic event here, the first ever experiment of Crankworx Cairns full tilt. We asked you what the biggest risk would be in a 3-rider heat, and so far the winner has been getting squeezed early. That's kind of been true, hasn't it, Alan?
Yeah, absolutely. The first third of this track is so important for those top 2 riders in order to advance. It's really going to be interesting to see the mentality change in these riders when it's not just top 2 that they're trying to get, when it's for all the gold and all the bronze and all the silver.
It's kind of fun to see that Heat 3 matchup in our women's category, knowing that there is a bye round and we get a preview of 2 of our fastest racers, but we don't have to say goodbye to any of them.
Yeah, definitely interesting. Strategy is going to come into play, right? Like, you don't want to show your cards, but you also don't want to show your weaknesses. So what do?
You can also move up your seeding score, though. So it's smart to race it.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you don't want the next round to have those 2 riders in it if you were one of them.
Tomorrow, stop number 2 of the Slopestyle World Championship Series. Let's kind of just reminisce a little bit from stop number 1 in Rotorua 2 months ago. It was insane. The fact that we didn't have our top riders from the previous past couple of seasons, our winningest riders, were not there. So it was the open door opportunity for riders like Caden Ingersoll to come in and make waves, but also we saw Tim Bringer take his first win after 5 second places. Now we're gonna see the big dogs back. Riders like Godzik and Emil Johansson. That's tomorrow, it'll be fun, but right now our first heat for the women here. Semifinals underway.
Kosakorova using that BMX, getting a solid start right there, gapping up over. These riders are looking really strong right there, keeping it steady through the rock garden. Rhythm section around and through the turn. Big step up into the finish village. Again, as we move on, these racers are gonna get closer and closer. Sabina stoked on that run right there, feeling good. These women have been iced a little bit. It's been a long time since they've been on the track. Improving on her qualifying time right there, so not feeling affected from that break right there.
Look at that, a lot of green times here in this first time we're seeing the women's field lineup in the gate.
Yeah, Sabina looking really confident on the gate in these big jumps. That's definitely what you're gonna need to excel out here on this full tilt track. Railing that outside turn, going into a rock garden. Remember, she's not used to racing mountain bikes, only riding mountain bikes this year. Typically a World Cup BMX racer. Looking really smooth through that rock garden. Putting her focus, you know what it takes to become a Crankworx specialist? You go to one and you catch the bug. That's what happens.
We've seen it so many times over the years, haven't we? And it's always so exciting when you see somebody, you go, oh, you can see it in their eyes. And you know, when they're standing on the podium that We got another one.
Yeah, I mean, look at Martha Gill, the reigning queen of Crankworx, defending queen of Crankworx. You know, she was an enduro racer, but there happened to be an enduro race at a Crankworx, and now that's what she's doing.
So Jordy Scott and Cassie Voicey loaded up in the gate right now. They're both going to advance into the next round. But as we mentioned here, an opportunity to kind of experiment a little bit with lines, and also an opportunity to improve on your seating time. That's how these riders will treat these bye rounds. So great to see Jordy Scott out here. Jordy super strong, stop number 1, second in slalom, second in downhill just yesterday, but graduating college, coming back from that broken ankle, recovering, and showing up strong to kick off this 2025 season. Jordy sitting number 1 in the Queen of Crankworx standings right now, 22 points ahead of Jenna Hastings.
Yeah, just a couple of years ago, Jordy was so close in that battle for the Queen. Unfortunately had an accident, separating her shoulder, and took her out the rest of the season. So you know she wants to stay in that top spot.
Cassie Voicey and Jordy Scott on course right now. And as opposed to a slalom race, there's more at stake than just advancing or just taking it as a practice run. Let's see if they're trying to improve those seating times.
Yeah, Jordy looks like she's sending it right now. Definitely not holding back. That's one of the things about these races. You know, we talk about it so many times, how you need to build from one run to the next. And she is going to definitely do that.
Let's see if her run time goes green. Look at that, green times for both Jordy Scott and Cassie Voicey, meaning they had just bettered their seating times. And as we've mentioned a few times so far, that's your currency. That earns you a better gate choice, that puts you into a potentially easier heat to advance out of as we move forward.
Looks like we have every rider in the semifinals improving on their qualifying time.
What do you think? Is that a symptom of just learning this course? There's so much to memorize here. Obviously, seeding runs between then and now, they've done so many more laps of this course.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably a mixture of a lot of things. You know, definitely becoming more familiar with the course, becoming more familiar with watching the men do their races and kind of picking out lines and seeing where there's opportunities to watch out for danger or make advantages and things like that. Just time on the track, that's what's going to do that.
Next heat loading in the gate, Martha Gill, the reigning Queen of Crankworx, went up against Caroline Buchanan, the former Queen of Crankworx. We're excited to see her once again reinventing herself, signing up for this full tilt.
Martha Gill keeping the suspense high, not even starting next to Caroline Buchanan, not going to give her any advantage.
We're curious about Caroline's strategic choices in terms of gate choices and seating. Here's what she had to say when we asked her.
I think gate position and ranking is going to be everything. If you've got that sort of inside advantage, or what I sort of mentioned, that middle lane, I feel like is going to give you the opportunity to snap out in front and get those multiple line options coming into that first stall wall.
Makes sense. What she said right there is what we've seen early on in the men's field. But right now, you know, look at this. Both of the riders lining up on the outside. So
yeah,
it's the old Mike Tyson thing, right? You have a good plan until you get punched in the face. And then the plan has to be fluid. You see the riders amending their strategies again and again as we work through the brackets today and learn more about this format and what works. Caroline Buchanan on the longer travel bike here. We got Martha Gill on the trail bike as well.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting run. Looks like Martha getting a little off rhythm right there, so Caroline's going to extend that lead she gained out of the gate. A little more BMX background, multi-time world champion, Olympian. Caroline Buchanan extending that lead over Martha Gill.
It's actually insane how many different events Caroline has, you know, adapted herself to. We've seen her in slope style. She was right out of the gate swinging when we brought a women's category into speed and style. We saw her going for front flips.
How was it?
Yeah, one of the things Caroline always does is commits herself. You know, that moment you're talking about when it's like, oh, women's speed and style, okay, I'm gonna learn some tricks. And then we saw her doing flips and Supermans and all kinds of stuff, just reinventing herself to really reach that ultimate goal of Queen of Crankworx.
Surprised at all to see both Martha and Caroline going for the big rigs?
I don't know, not really. I mean, they're so well-rounded. I think they would probably have a better idea of what bike's going to be best than I would. You know, on paper, yeah, maybe that shorter travel, sort of rigid, faster rolling bike, but it depends on where they're seeing their strengths on this course. You can see right there Caroline on the long travel bike, which we saw her riding earlier this year and doing some amazing stuff on in slalom.
Yeah, she won slalom on that long travel bike. How about this though? Both of these riders have a 2-event day today, and the fact that they both chose the long travel trail bikes for full tilt means that they're gonna have to switch gears and grab those hardtails for pump track later tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing they're not ready for.
You got a reigning queen of Crankworx in Martha Gill and a former queen of Crankworx in Caroline Buchanan. If anybody is well-versed in the art of switching bikes for a multi-event day, it's those two right there.
Would you call that a battle royale?
Sure, why not? Makes me hungry.
A battle royale with cheese?
With cheese, please. Oh, this is fun. Look at this. We're at the semifinals right now for the men. We're getting a look at who our final 9 riders are. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. It was a long time ago, so let's talk about it again. In all of these heats, the winner of the heat goes into the finals. Second place from each heat goes into the small finals. So basically you have to win to have an opportunity to get a first, second, or third gold, silver, bronze medal in the first ever Crankworx Full Tilt. If you get third, what happens? You go night-night. Sorry, you go hit the showers.
You get to go to the VIP tent, get some beverages.
Here we go. Our first heat in the semifinals for the men loading up right now.
Checking out Blankensop's tire choice right there. More of a rear tire he's got on the front there, so faster rolling.
Yep. All right, here we go.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Riders out, all 3 of them side by side. It looks like Sam Blankensop gets off rhythm right there with Tegan Cruz in second. So Sam Blankensop in threat to be eliminated right here. Tegan Cruz wants to get into that final, trying to squeak around the outside right there. Going completely flat. And that's it right there. We saw Sam Blankensop so strong and so fast. Just a small little mistake right there. Josh Jolly able to not only win that, but also have the fastest time of the day for himself.
Josh Jolly putting down his fastest run and securing himself a spot into those finals. What a race right there. Tegan Cruz securing a berth in the consolation round. But Josh Jolly still alive for a gold medal out here. Let's see what happened to Blanky.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Oh, him and Tegan coming super close. Both riders landing a bit sketchy, but Tegan able to continue on and make that step up. And that was going to be it right there. No one wanted to give up the lane. Josh Jolly looking really strong through that rock garden. You see him pre-angling that apex for that turn. Such an important part of the course. That momentum is going to be carried from that sharp turn out of the rock garden all the way to the finish line.
Josh Jolly, the first of 3 riders who've made it into the final medal round of this first ever Crankworx Full Tilt.
History being made. It's the first one.
Well, Tegan Cruz will go into that next matchup there where 4th, 5th, and 6th will be determined. And yeah, you're not going to get a medal from that round, but you're going to get some valuable points for King of Crankworx overall, and he's sitting 5th in that right now. A guy who racked up some points yesterday, Jackson Frew, on the left side of your screen, lined up against Bass Van Steenbergen, Duke Millington, right side of your screen there.
Remember, everyone's going for the lead right here. Nobody cares about second place. They want to win. Baz with a huge gate right there. Jackson has that inside, maybe a slight advantage. This is where they came together in the last heat.
Who's it gonna be? Is it
Jackson gets the step up. Looks like Baz, unfortunately, has to take the long way up and over.
Oh, man.
Jackson Frew gets that in and out of that turn really nice, extending all the way down. That's how fast it can happen.
Well, we can say it right here. Jackson Frew will stand on another podium. The big question is, what step will it be? Jackson Frew securing himself into the medal rounds. Bass Van Steenbergen into that small final.
Like, should I jump on off camber?
Yeah, it's an audible the whole way down the track when the riders are that close.
No. Oh, shit. Like, hug the bank. Yeah, because I was like, you were too close, and I was like, he's going to take middle, I'm going to have to go here. Yeah. Damn, that's hectic. And I tried not to jump too far left to kill both of you. Yeah.
Well, that was nice. That was nice of him, not killing his racers.
How about that, though, right? In, 22 seconds, you have that much to talk about.
Yeah, right here is that moment they were talking about. I thought you were going to give this. I didn't want to jump across, and you see Jackson stays a little bit more right there. His faster line is he transfers left and catches more of that backside and power wheelies down that. If he did that in that run, it would have been maybe on Baz's front tire.
For sure, could have just swooped the front wheel right out from Baz. Yeah, we got some Jackson Frew fans out there commenting online. I know we got a lot of Jackson Frew fans out here at the Smithfield Bike Park venue. Jackson Frew taking the win yesterday in the Rock Shocks downhill. Jackson Frew sitting in 4th place in the King standings right now. He's gonna be on the podium here in the first ever full tilt. Is it gonna be a gold, silver, or a bronze? And who else will he be racing against? We gotta figure that out right now. The winner of this heat in the gate will be in the gold medal round. Will it be Ryan Gilchrist, Connor Hudson, or Niels Bensink? Gilly with the gate choice.
So interesting, Bensink with the second fastest time right there, getting the inside or outside. Maybe he's got something up his sleeve.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Gilchrist with a solid start. Bensink gets a good one too. Let's see what that line he does. A triple roller for Bensink. Not quite what he wanted, but it's gonna be. Whoa, and he holds on right there. Bensink getting a little wild out of that rock garden. Gilchrist makes a mistake right there, and Bensink makes a pass. Gilchrist has a flat tire. Can he hold on for second?
Oh, Gilchrist out of the medal round. Niels Bensink cleaning up.
It looked like maybe a rear flat tire for Gilchrist.
I mean, I thought the fact that he made it to that first feature first and was able to take that optimal line meant that he was securing himself a spot into those finals, but anything can happen out here, especially with the sharp rocks in the middle of the course. Wow.
Gilchrist heading to the showers a little early. That's always a tough pill to swallow, but that's what this race brings to the table. You hear Bensink right there. He heard the flat tire.
He heard opportunity.
Yeah, he did.
In the form of a flat tire.
That's what it sounded like.
It's weird. I've never heard a flat tire go ka-ching before. You know, this is what we were talking about. Is just, it's like, you know, the orange juice you get where it's concentrated. This is just all the action concentrated into a tiny little 21-second package. I thought this race was done. Gilly was so far out in the lead. It must have been in this rock garden. Let's see. He lands in that power manual.
Comes in right here. There's a couple of sharp rocks on the left.
Oh,
I didn't
right
see
at the
anything.
end?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see anything stand out, but it must have happened fast because he shut it down right after it. Oh, there it was right there. You could see the rim bounce off that rock. Maybe the last rock in the rock garden is what took him out. He's lucky he was able to hold on to it coming down that track that fast with a flat tire. Didn't even skip a beat, straight back on the pedals. Never say die mentality. If anyone has that built into their genes, it's Ryan Gilchrist.
Oh my goodness. Well, a little shake-up here. Small final for Ryan Gilchrist, not able to get into that medal round. Ryan Gilchrist, the reigning king of Crankworx, as well as the leader in the standings so far, with a second place yesterday in downhill, left some points on the table. He's not making it into the medal round here in full tilt, leaving some points on the table. Really makes things interesting for riders who are in striking distance like Jackson Frew.
Yeah, Gilchrist on such a crazy schedule. I was watching the EDR, the Enduro World Series, and these guys were interviewing Ryan Gilchrist, and he's like, yeah, I'm headed to the airport in a couple hours. I got to go to Cairns. I got some you know, titles to defend.
Well, so much to do here on and off the bike. Some of our riders were able to get the All-Star Tour here. What to do, where to eat. Let's see what they got up to. Take a look.
First time eating kangaroo, and I have to say they are quite cute, but they taste even better, so.
Welcome to Oka. We specialise in local produce and Australian native food. So we use a lot of native bush food, and are being used by Aboriginal people, which have been in the country for about 60, 70,000 years.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, loving it.
Is it good?
Yeah, so.
I've never had kangaroo. I would recommend, if you guys are down here, I think you gotta hit it up.
Well, who's going to earn their meal out here today? We're getting to the business end of things here. Crankworx Cairns inaugural full tilt 3-rider race format, 1 course. And we had a lot of question marks just a little bit ago about what this event would be all about. We have a clearer picture right now, and it's full of action. With a lot of our events, especially the one that this is replacing, speed and style, one thing that's constant is smart money isn't on anybody, because crazy stuff can happen like we just saw to Ryan Gilchrist.
Yeah, Gilchrist getting a flat tire there in the semifinals and missing out on the medal round and valuable points. Anything can happen right here. It was an interesting technique or tactic out of Bensink, how he was on the outside, triple rolled, and I saw he was trying to cut over to the right and squeak through those 2 tall rollers, but Gilchrist was in the air and he couldn't get across there, so maybe that's a line we'll see him try to do later on.
We got a lot of big names here in our field, a lot of former Queen of Crankworx winners, all converging. We got Caroline Buchanan out there. We've got Martha Gill, the reigning queen. You got to think this is one of those seasons, though, where Caroline is really eyeing up the potential points. She's not in our top 5 right now, but based on what we're seeing so far out here today and the fact that she's going to be racing later in pump track, will this be another year where we see Caroline Buchanan duking it out with new event formats on the schedule?
And you can bet we're going to see her out here in slalom later on Sunday after the slopestyle goes down.
Martha Gill, the reigning queen of Crankworx. We saw her secure that at the final stop in Whistler last year. It was fun to watch her celebrate. And of course, you got to compete in so many different disciplines to even have a chance at considering the quest for queen.
Yeah, the #1 target on Martha Gill's calendar for the last few years has definitely been that Queen of Crankworx slot, showing she has what it takes.
Jenna Hastings only 22 points behind Martha. Before this event, obviously Martha with an opportunity to extend that lead right now. She would love to cross this finish line first in front of Sasha Mills and Cassie Voicey in order to make it into that medal round. But as we've seen from the men, it's no easy task. Even if you get the whole shot, you're not the shoe-in yet.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Sasha Mills with the faster time out of these 3 riders right here, side by side with Martha Gill. Nice little line there out of Martha, but looks like she gets out of sync, drops back to 3rd place.
That is not where you want to be.
It's not where you want to be. Sasha Mills extending her lead through the rock garden. A little bit out of sync there, able to keep the air in her tires.
Oh no,
Martha Gill down hard.
Oh, she was so far behind too. It's such a shame to see her go down.
She's up back on her feet. Sasha Mills able to hold on to it. Little nose heavy there. Yep, I saw that.
Oh no.
Martha Gill, unfortunately, going out right there. Sort of continuing a little bit of bad luck. She's up and healthy, though, so it's not over this week.
Well, she's up anyways. I guess the rest will be, we will learn that, see if she's okay. It looked like she hit the ground pretty hard. She's raising at least that right hand. So Sasha Mills crossing that finish line first and earning her way into the medal round. Let's listen.
That was honestly insane. I just was on a slightly off line on the rock garden, like hit the bigger rock on the right. Because Cassie cut me up.
Oh, that's pretty, jeez.
So let's see right here what happened to Martha Gill in this small final. She goes, takes a really creative line right there, but it did not pay off right there. So off camber, she was barely able to stay on her bike, had to take a foot off and everything.
Let's see how she went down. It's coming up after this rock garden. I mean, she's so far behind here. She's not in the running anymore. What happened?
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is maybe she didn't quite get her foot clipped back in after she needed to take it out over that hill, and probably came unclipped here.
She must have been pitched out of the rocks.
Oh no, just, yeah, no mistake out of the foot right there. The rock garden just ate her front wheel.
Drifting through the rocks. Oh, and then getting ejected. Oh man, coming up to say hi to the spectators.
That was where you want to land right there. Look how soft that dirt is.
I know, thank goodness, man. To be able to land up on the high side of the hill rather than getting pitched into the flats, or even worse, into the compression, into that next takeoff. Well, good to see Martha rolling out of that one, kind of.
Yeah, nice crash. I give that one a gold medal crash. Sasha Mills taking that small final right there, looking really, really strong from top to bottom. And Cassie Voicey coming in second place on that one. Coming up next, the men's small final.
So we've been coming here for Crankworx for 4 years, and the future is so bright for this area. Big trail expansion. We hear a lot of buzz about it. I was able to catch up with the Assistant Minister of Tourism earlier to learn more about this expansion. Check it out. Well, right now we have with us the Assistant Minister of Tourism in the Queensland area here, Bree James. Bree, thanks for taking the time to chat with us. There's a lot of buzz, a lot of people talking about this expansion that's coming to the region. What's some more information about this? How big will this trail expansion be?
It's so exciting for our region here. We have been campaigning for this for a really long time. So it's going to be nearly triple what it is now. So it's now 30 kilometres, but it's going to be 85 kilometres of amazing trails.
What sort of timeline can we expect before there's actually tires on dirt on these new trails?
So it's going to be done in stages, so it'll be absolutely complete by 2028. So not long, not long. It's going to get underway. So the next year is all the planning and then all of the structure of the trails, and then it'll be actual build. So 2028 will be all complete. That'll
be big. A lot of people are going to be flocking to this region to ride, and that has more impact on the rest of the area than just the trails. What is going to be the kind of economic impact that bringing all of this new trail system to the area will be?
Well, first of all, it's going to make us not only the reef and rainforest capital of the world, but the reef, rainforest and riding capital of the world, which is really exciting for our region. This is a place that you can come mountain biking. It's 15 minutes from the airport, and you know, families can come here and the family can go and have a great time and make it a real holiday of it. But the economic impact, $95 million a year they're anticipating, with 75,000 mountain bikers a year coming to this region with more international events. So it's a great economic booster. It's going to be great for small business. It's going to be great for our local kids as well, getting them out having more green time instead of screen time.
I mean, it's exciting to be here right now, but it's even more exciting to think about what this is going to do for the future of this area and for mountain bikers to come here and visit. Thanks so much, Bree, for taking the time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Exciting times for the Smithfield region. Big trail expansion coming. Can't wait to see that unfold, and also can't wait to see us get into our medal round here for Crankworx Full Tilt. A lot of these riders with a lot more on their plate than just full tilt today. Riders who are going to be competing in pump track later tonight who have already had a really long day. Let's take a look at some of the highlights and lowlights from Ryan Gilchrist's long day so far. So obviously the #1 rider in seeding, kind of setting the pace for every single bracket so far. A lot of riders watching his gate choices and following suit. Crossing the finish line first, all over the map until the last race we just saw on.
Yeah, Gilchrist staying super consistent every single run, almost identical, doing everything he needs to do. If there's any rider that can build throughout a head-to-head competition, whether it's pump track, whether it's slalom, or even now in full tilt, it's Ryan Gilchrist. And you can't even fault him for what happened and why he's in the small final. It's just an aspect of this course and in this racing. He talked about earlier, he prioritized his bike choice for the start. He got every hole shot, but he didn't make it to the bottom with air in his tires on every run. So if we do this again, will it be that bike or will it be a trail bike?
Look at him try though, you know, like flat tire and all, still trying as hard as he can across that finish line first. Of course, it takes place in the round where second place doesn't do much for you.
Yeah, of course. That is the unique thing that they've come up with this full tilt format. I like it. I think it sticks.
Well, the reigning king of Crankworx will not be on the podium here at full tilt. He was on the podium in downhill yesterday, not necessarily the step that he was planning on, though. Let's take a look back at yesterday's downhill. Ryan Gilchrist was the #1 qualifier coming in as well. So that meant he was the final rider to drop, knew what he had to beat. It was the time held by Jackson Frew.
Yeah, Gilchrist, not really known as a downhill specific rider, actually got that same bike that he's riding right there in Rotorua when he was doing that race. Got on the podium there as well. Just really proven to us that he is exactly that rider we think he is. He can kind of do it all.
So he is the reigning king. He's also leading the points for king, but guess what? People are narrowing the gap. One of the riders who is doing their best to narrow that gap is Jackson Frew, sitting there in 4th place in the King of Crankworx standings. It's not going to be a medal here for Ryan Gilchrist, but he has an opportunity to secure 4th place. That's what's on the line right here. 4th, 5th, and 6th places. Ryan Gilchrist, Bas van Steenbergen, and Tegan Cruz.
I don't think Ryan Gilchrist acknowledges 4th place. He's going for points right now. He's got his eye on the big prize.
So here we go. We went from 1st and 2nd really mattering because those were the transfer spots. We went from that to 1st place really mattering because that was your ticket into the medal round. And here we're just simply fighting for position. 4th, 5th, and 6th on the line here. Tegan Cruz, Bas van Steenbergen, and Ryan Gilchrist.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Tegan Cruz with a good gate right there. Baz and Gilchrist able to squeak out just a little bit in front of him. And there goes Gilchrist with that step up to manual right there. Let's see if he can keep the air in his tires.
I mean, this was so his race to win. This is a carbon copy of every single matchup that we saw today where he crossed the finish line first. Unfortunately, that flat tire in the last round sent him to this small final. A 4th place for your reigning king of Crankworx and current standings leader, Ryan Gilchrist.
Tegan and Baz getting a little rough entering that rock garden right there.
The rock garden.
Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah, there you go.
So not the day Gilchrist wanted, but making the most of it, getting that 4th place locked in right here. Watch Baz and Tegan taking different lines right there.
Oh, did you see Tegan almost looked like he was making that decision to drift right off of the lip?
Yeah.
All right, I'll go this way.
Last second decisions, that's for sure. And right here they come together.
Man.
Baz not willing to give up the position. Tegan having to check up.
Oh, they
Look
came
at
to
that.
I love that.
Baz went through a line in that rock garden I bet he has not gone through once yet in this race.
That is protecting your line right there. That's something we don't typically see on the Crankworx World Tour. You usually have your own course, whether it be dual slalom, speed and style, or pump track. But right there, Baz showing some race skills. Putting his eyes on the line he wanted and not wavering. Well, the inaugural Crankworx Full Tilt has been fun. We've got the medal rounds coming up next. First up will be the women as we enjoy our time here in beautiful Cairns, Australia.
Look at all those number ones. Pretty good year.
It's finals time. Who is going to take the gold medal here for the women? Caroline Buchanan, Sabina Kosarkova, and Jordy Scott into the medal round.
So Sabina, your fastest qualifier right there, choosing the middle. Caroline Buchanan will be defending on the inside lane, and Jordy Scott will be sending it from the outside.
Well, we caught up with Jordy earlier about where time can be made up on this course. Let's hear what she said.
I think the biggest time gains are going to be getting out of the gate and being able to choose the line that you want to ride. If you get somebody in front of you and they take what seems like the fast line or even just line you're used to and you can't hit that, I think that's going to be a huge loss.
All right, in the matter of a few seconds here, probably 30 seconds from now, we're going to know who the first ever winner of Full Tilt for the women will be.
You heard Jordy talking about how important the starters. Well, all of these races are incredible starters. Sabina with a slight advantage over Caroline. And we see Jordy right there making up some time on the inside. Coming down to this rock garden. How's it all going to shape out? Sabina keeps that lead.
Jordy makes it to the rock garden first in front of Caroline Buchanan. Sabina, this is hers right here as long as she can hold it together.
Oh, and here comes Caroline. Watch over the rise right there. How did she do it? Was able to stick shot just past Jordy Scott for the silver medal. Sabina is just over the moon with that win. Just finally starting to race mountain bikes. Rode her first mountain bike this year and out here on the Crankworx World Tour, winning gold medals. Caroline Buchanan did not give up all the way down. Was able to use that long travel bike to slingshot out and get past Jordy Scott in the final obstacles. I cannot wait to see how she made that happen on the replays. Here we are, Sabina with a solid hole shot right there. Caroline keeping her very honest, but then Jordy makes some magic right here coming around the outside. Was able to lock down second place coming into this rock garden, but let's keep an eye on Caroline. Where did this momentum come from? She rails the outside coming into the rock garden. Got a really good pump right there. See how it shapes up coming out of this rock garden. Jordy was able to stay pretty smooth. Oh, Jordy gets a little bit offline right there, almost missed. Maybe had to check up the brakes a little bit. Didn't quite get enough speed, and that big case right there was how the door was opened, and Caroline Buchanan was right there to shut her down. And that's how it goes here in Full Tilt. One small mistake, and the whole game changes. All right, we're gonna take a look here with our winners and Cam down in the corral.
Sabina, how about the timing? This is insane. For those of you out here who don't realize her trajectory, you tried mountain biking Christchurch, Crankworx Summer Series. You killed it. You came out to Rotorua. You got 2 bronze medals, and then you come from BMX, a format where you're elbow-to-elbow racing, trying to pass. And now, great timing, we unveil this Crankworx Full Tilt, and you're able to take the win. How was it out there today?
So, to be honest, I've never been nervous before like that because it was something new. All the riders were maybe confused, but yeah, I was more nervous than BMX, but I knew if I'm going to have the fastest time, it's possible to win.
You're going to be climbing the ladder there in the Queen of Crankworx overall standings. I know you've been pulling double duty, balancing your racing career as well as schooling. Have you been just kind of amending your calendar based on how well you've been doing on this World Tour?
So I'm graduating next Thursday, so I took the risk to come here. I'm super happy that I won, and maybe my teacher's gonna see it today, so I'm really happy they let me go here, and hopefully I will graduate next week.
Congratulations! The first ever winner of Crankworx Full Tilt. Let's make some noise for Sabina Kosarkova!
Awesome, awesome story right there. Amending her college schedule to make it out. I remember she was talking about this moment way back at the Summer Series in Christchurch, saying she wasn't going to be able to be here, but absolutely killing it on the Crankworx World Tour, amending her season, and she's here making the most of her time.
I mean, to think that right when she decides that she's going to be a mountain biker and start competing in these disciplines, like we've seen so many BMX riders do in the past, this event is unveiled, and she's able to capitalize on the moment.
And that was the moment where Jordy Scott was not quite able to get up and over that step up. But the race for the lead was over. Sabina Kosakova taking another gold medal in mountain biking. How about that?
I wonder if she can juggle. She's good at multitasking here, balancing, getting that degree with grabbing gold medals out here and climbing the ranks of the Queen of Crankworx standings. She was sitting in third before she just earned these points. It's going to be interesting to see what happens later tonight in pump track as well. All right, we got more medals to give away. This is the medal round for the men. Josh Jolly, Jackson Frew, and Niels Bensink are loaded up into the gate. Jackson Frew with the fastest seating time, choosing that middle gate, Alan.
Yeah, it's interesting. The gate choices have changed as the rounds go on. Remember, we saw Bensink with an interesting line that didn't quite work out in the last round. Let's see if he can make it happen.
Okay, riders, random start.
Josh Jolly's got that inside line. It's all going to be about this snap. What's they got? All three riders with a solid start. That means they're going to have to come together at some point.
Whoa. Oh, man. Watch
Jolly
this
with the
funnel.
rail. Here comes Bensink and Frew on the same space at the same time. Frew's able to come out just in advance. Frew with the momentum. What's he got on Josh Jolly? Jolly's going to leave it wide open to the bottom, land completely flat, and so does Frew.
Oh, man, it looks like Josh Jolly crossed the line first. It was close.
Jackson Frew was giving it everything he had. Both riders sending it completely to flat. Too close for me to call.
I had no idea where you were going after the wall. Yeah, I split the difference. I was like, oh, I don't know.
Who went left on the wall?
Me.
Yeah, I saw you, and I'm like, oh. Did you jump where I jumped? Like,
No, I went like middle, down through the middle, followed the rocks, hit the inside, and then went left and just tried to run it at you. And then
yeah, I went to the stone wall, I saw it, and I just started cranking.
I literally hear these riders deliberating on this course from top to bottom. It was a surprise for every single rider. Look at that start out of all three riders. By the time they got through the start beams, they were side by side by side. Jackson Frew had a big case right there and wasn't able to get to the inside and get that manual power pedal that he's been getting so much momentum on. And Bensink doubles on the inside right here. Had to check up a little bit and give it to Frew. And then Frew just drops the hammer. Josh has no idea what's behind him. You see Frew lining up right there. You can barely tell where he's trying to go, but if you look at his helmet and where it's pointed, it's going about a turn and a half ahead of him. He's able to pop up, get that pump, stay a little bit lower than Josh, right there. And this is what Jackson is so good at, making his competitors think that they have it, and then he comes out of nowhere. Both riders sending it completely to flat. No reason to check up right there, and Josh just able to edge him out with one bike length. We got Cam down in the finish corral. What do you got, Cam?
Josh Jolly, what in the world was that? There are some big name riders out there, riders who are just fixtures on the Crankworx World Tour. And guess what? You beat them all, and you did it head to head with elbows out on a race course in the first ever Crankworx full tilt. Where'd you come from, and where'd you get all those skills?
I don't know. I just had fun all day. I race BMX. I'm junior elite world champ for BMX, so got the gate start from BMX, and yeah, just tried to ride it like a BMX track.
It's good timing for you as well. We were just talking to Sabina, who took the gold medal for the women. You come from BMX. We got pump track coming up later. We typically see our BMX crossovers slaying in that event. Are you going to sign up for pump track later tonight as well?
Hell yeah, I'm doing pump track.
Hey, we got a big name on the Crankworx World Tour climbing the ranks here. Josh Jolly, let's hear it for him. The winner of the first ever men's Crankworx Full Tilt, Josh Jolly.
New event, new face, taking the win here in Cairns. Full Tilt, I would call it a success. So much action, so cool to see the creativity on the course that the Flux Trail crew did. These riders, different lines. Speaking of winners, who do we got? Lockie_MTB is gonna be the winner of the Darko kit. Such a cool pack. Can't believe Darko's giving away product before it even launches. It's such a smart move. Shout out to them, hooking them up.
I don't know, Alan, I dig this. I say I don't know, that's just a lie, because I do know, I dig this. This is awesome.
I'm into it. I think Full Tilt, I'm full on for Full Tilt, to tell you that. The different courses and the different mountains we go to, just imagine the options they can build.
Yeah, I'd say if it's an experiment and kind of a trial, I would call it a success. I feel like we've just kind of scratched the surface as to what the course designs could be as well. I could imagine some course designs that would filter some riders into some cornering and really spice things up a bit too.
Yeah, just thinking about Whistler, where there's a lot less traction, how much more exciting this could get.
So crazy. This one, you got to give it to the World Trail crew and the Flux Trail crew for, this is basically like a bar napkin course. You imagine you sit there either in the sandbox or on your bar napkin and just imagine crazy labyrinths of options, features that can be ridden in so many different ways. And it's pretty crazy that we saw some of those BMX crossovers take the win. You got to think that we're going to have our big names training specifically for this event in the future if we're able to keep it on the World Tour at future stops. Well, our action for the day is not done yet. Make sure you stick around and come back later, 6:30 to 8 o'clock local time. Check your local time zone to join us for Pump Track later tonight. Thanks for joining us in Full Tilt. We'll see you later.